Hello, I'm Stacy Sherman, and I'm so excited to be here with you today to celebrate CX Day 2020 in such a big, impactful way. During our time together, I'm going to speak about why does customer experience matter? Humanizing business and leading with a heart. That's what I'm doing every day. And what does that mean? How can that differentiate brands? We're going to get into that. So, with that, let me introduce myself for those who don't know me briefly, which is I am currently the head of customer experience and leading employee engagement at Schindler Elevator Corporation. We are global and celebrating CX Day in a huge way. I'm also, when I'm not at work, in my spare time doing CX Right, which is speaking about customer experience best practices, writing articles, and mentoring people. And most recently, published a book, writing for Forbes, and recognized for some great awards. So, enough about me. Let's talk about you and what you can do about doing CX Right. So, we have to get CX right. Why? Well, there's a lot of research out there, and this is one of my favorites. It says it takes 12 positive experiences to make up for one unresolved experience. Think about that. That's a lot of energy if they don't, if you make a mistake to make customers happy. And here's the extra part that I added in, and that is if, in fact, customers give you a chance to make it better. A lot of times they'll just leave and they won't even let you know. They'll just pick a different competitor and you never see them again. And even worse, they'll complain about you on social media. So you got to do it right. You got to do the basics, and then you add sophisticated CX methodologies to that. So, all right, hopefully you all understand that you've got to get it right. So let's talk about the human-centered approach. I really encourage everyone to walk in the customer's shoes. So what does that mean? Think about the customer journey from how you learn and buy and get set up with any product or service. How do you use? What's that experience? Bill and pay. It's significant. If it's really hard to pay your bill, customers will leave. If that level of effort is really difficult, it can be a big pain point and they'd be done. And then getting help, that is huge. Customer service, that's getting help. So if that's not easy, again, even if the beginning of the customer journey was great, but they get stuck on the end, they'll leave. So you have to design the customer journey, and then a lot of companies fail to do this. You have to validate what you designed with real customers. So there's a whole validation of every point in the customer journey to make sure that you meet their expectations based on what you designed. And then you want to go ahead and measure. Measure what are the customer's emotions? What are they feeling at each touch point? What are their concerns? And what can you do to make improvements? So you want to dive deep into each journey as well as look at it holistically. Now, the game changer. One is voice of customer. What I mean by that, and again with the journey, is that you want to get customer feedback in structured ways like surveys and unstructured ways. So there's a lot of feedback on social media and rating and review sites. You also can take advantage of your customer service online chat if you have that, or their phone calls. There's tons of great data and insights there. And you want to aggregate that and centralize it and then be able to prioritize what the customers are saying so that you can really take action in a priority order. And then you also want to get your employee feedback. You want to marry what they say with the customer feedback. And that's how the magic happens, because they will have a lot to tell you. But I also want to give you a big warning. Do not replace customer feedback and use the voice of employee instead. In other words, if you run out of time, sometimes people will take employee feedback in place of the customer feedback. And that's where it goes wrong because nothing replaces the customer feedback. You want to marry the two. All right. And quality over speed. So move your deadlines if you can't get both. Next, let's talk about the value of doing CX right. So happy employees, when they feel valued and included and appreciated, what do you think happens? Customers, they feel it. They know it. They feel it. And there's so much data to show that, but also I've seen it. So it's really important to spend time with your employees, make them feel valued. And there's so many ways to do that. Now, I know it to be true, but again, there's a lot of research. Here's one example that really stands out to me by Gallup. Engaged teams generate 21% more profit than their disengaged counterparts. That's big. Likewise, another quote here is employers who increase their workers' engagement by just 10% can boost profits by over $2,000 per employee every year. Think about that. It's tremendous. So this is why you really need to take care of your employees and build that customer-centric culture. I love this quote by Stephen Covey. Always treat your employees exactly as you want them to treat your customers. It makes total sense. So what are some best practices? What can you do and take back to your office today or tomorrow and start making your employees feel that value and want to own customer excellence? So there's a bunch of ways. Let's talk about a few. So first of all, customer experience, make that part of your agenda every meeting. Spend time and ask your employees, what does customer experience mean to them and how do they own it? They'll tell you. And the more you talk about it and that drumbeat, you'll start to really see that culture adopt those best practices. Read customer feedback surveys. You'll see that a lot of times customers mention your employees by name. So celebrate them. And then when you hear customers talk negatively, use them as coaching opportunities. I also believe in empathy training. A lot of times, especially the call center and reps, they have a script and it makes sense so that they can get through the number of calls they have to make. But the problem sometimes is they sound robotic. And so the point is you want them to sound human. You want them to really listen to what the customer's saying so that they can really respond in a human way and not a script. Even though they're reading it, they can actually be empowered to talk and empathize and make the customer feel like they matter. Celebrate as a company. So CX Day is here. I hope that people have really been planning for this day and a week. And then take this momentum forward. Don't just wait for each October. Keep that momentum going and celebrating as a team with your employees, with your bosses, with customers. And build a connection with your team. So one of the things I did that was so much fun and invigorating during COVID, we got very creative and I had a book club with my team. And every Monday we would read Simon Sinek's Start with the Why and talk about our whys and really get to connect. And so what does that have to do with CX? Well, a lot, because the more, again, that your employees feel important and understood, they take their job seriously. They feel ownership to deliver excellence. And those customers, again, feel it and see it. So, pivoting our business, that's just what everyone's had to do. And again, that's where that empathy comes in. What I like to do and what we've done at where I work is these peace of mind calls, calling our customers and saying, "We're here for you. Are you okay? We're open. Here's how you can reach us." And it goes a long way. The other thing I'd like to recommend is over communicate. So if your customers are waiting for status or you're waiting for a package or whatever that might be, pick up the phone. Silence is not an option. Even if you don't have an answer about what your customer's waiting for, let them know, "I haven't forgotten about you." So they will really appreciate that. And even when they're angry, they'll be more forgiving. How do you increase your skills? There's so many ways. There's tons of webinars on CX Day, CX Week, and beyond. There's so many podcasts. If you just Google CX, you'll see tons of really wonderful CX practitioners and professionals. Books, tons of them. Again, search on Amazon, customer experience. There's a lot on Twitter also. I recommend, you'll see a lot of recommendations. Read blogs. Hopefully, you'll read mine, Doing CX Right. And again, join the conversations on social media. There's tons of communities as well that are talking about CX methodologies, persona development, and journey mapping, and how do you measure customer satisfaction and driving that culture of customer centric culture and great leadership. And then also, of course, there's the option to get CX certified. I highly recommend it. I can keep going on, but please spend time. Visit me on my website, Doing CX Right. There's so many resources and great material to help increase your CX skills as well as help you elevate your brand and differentiate based on customer excellence. I'm all over social media. Please join the conversations because every day is a new topic and very relevant to the times we're living in. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. And remember that you matter. Everyone owns the customer experience. Have a great day and keep safe.